Well, I think a lot of people look at it and say, oh, wow, the play-in idea is very popular. I don't know if that's as much the case as that group stage nonsense could only get 7 GMs to support it. I adore Kevin O'Connor. He's a big proponent of this. I talked to him the other night about it and argued with him privately. I'll say it now publicly. It is a terrible idea. It's just awful. And I'm glad the GMs agree with me. This idea that you need to do to the NBA what you have to do in the World Cup. Again, the World Cup is a group stage because you are drawing soccer clubs from the entire globe. They are not competing against each other throughout the qualifiers, and there's no fair or adequate way to rank them. That is not the case in the NBA. If in the playoffs this year we were going to involve the UEFA teams, if you were going to involve the league that Luka used to play in Spain, then maybe a group stage would be necessary. But assuming we're keeping it to America and the Toronto Raptors, I think just the regular playoffs, maybe a play-in is fine, but the group stage should never get off the ground, Wilds.
Yeah, I feel like the group stage is officially dead. Broussard, I think this is sort of a hallmark of Silver's tenure as commissioner. He's a lawyer by trade, and he's doing his due diligence to look at all the options. So group stage is probably dead. The play-in has a little bit of momentum, but more than anything, I think reseeding is going to happen. They've talked about all 3 of those options, but I still think reseeding is the one most likely to get through.
Yeah, I'm just so glad that they've nixed this group stage, or at least it appears that way, because I don't understand it. I'm always confused, whether it's the World Cup, the Olympics. I have no idea what's going on with group stage stuff. I'm an American. I don't think like a European. I have no idea what's going on whenever they have group stage. So I love the play-in. It rewards the teams that are on the bubble and still have a legitimate chance to get into the playoffs, and it doesn't punish the teams that already had top seed. So I think this one, the GM got right.
Sticking with the playoffs, Brian Windhorst recently said that some around the league believe the NBA's proposed plan for an expanded postseason is all an elaborate plan to get rookie Zion Williamson and his Pelicans into the postseason. Nick, is it actually possible that Zion could affect the NBA playoff format?
Oh, it's possible, but it would be outrageous. Nobody's a bigger fan of Zion than me. But this is a zero-sum game, folks. If you try to tweak the situation to allow the Pelicans to maybe get in, you know who gets left out? Ja Morant. And I would argue, on a long time horizon, it is better for the NBA for Ja Morant to get some publicity this year than Zion. Zion's going to be a star and a media sensation no matter what. A lot of America has never watched Ja Morant play, and seeing him in the first round against the Lakers might raise his star quality enough to where the NBA has another young marketable superstar. And there's one other point about this that to me is very important. We already know the 2 teams with the best record in basketball, the 2 teams that earned the 1 seed, Milwaukee and the Lakers, are going to be not at a disadvantage, but not going to get their full reward as far as no home games. No one can do anything about that. That happens. But if you then make it so the 2 teams with the best record in basketball have to, in the first round, play the only hot teams that exist in an era of pandemic, that you have to play a team that just won a tournament to get into the playoffs, you are actually penalizing them for being the 1 seed. You'd have been better off if you're Milwaukee to beat Toronto and be the 2 seed. If you're the Lakers, you've been better off being the Clippers, not caring about the regular season, and be the 2 seed. So for that reason, I think it would be added unfairness to the 2 teams that have done the most this year, Wilds.
I like your take on Ja Morant. I haven't thought of that. But just to dig in on Zion, everyone gives credit to the NBA for being a star-driven league. Well, this is how it works. The NBA doesn't control commercials. They don't control how well the stars play. The only thing they can really control is exposure. The Pelicans had a franchise record 30 national games this year. They played opening night. They played Christmas. They played on ABC, a broadcast network, games for the first time since 2009. So look, I know everyone's saying like you can't change the format for one guy, but Broussard, this is how it works. This is how NBA makes stars.
Nick, stop it with this would punish the top seeds. If they can't beat the New Orleans Pelicans, as young as they are, they don't deserve to win the championship. I'm sorry. If it somehow happened that the Lakers or the Bucks met the Pelicans in the playoffs and lost, so be it. You're not deserving of winning the championship, so it is what it is. I think overall, this Zion comment that Brian Windhorst made, I think it's made more, or among executives, I think it's made a little bit more in jest than actually really believing it. Because look, you mentioned Nick, could be left out. What you forgot others. Luka could be left out. I mean, if they play a play-in tournament for the 7th and 8th seeds, you could not only lose Ja Morant, you could lose Luka Doncic, who is obviously a budding superstar in the league. So I don't think it's a plan to get Zion in. I do think it's wise, though, to give these teams on the bubble and teams that have superstars with Zion, Damian Lillard. In the East, you got Bradley Beal. To give them a shot to get into the playoffs, I think it's fine. And if Zion happens to make it, even if it's at the expense of Luka or Ja Morant, all the buzz that he would bring would be good for the league because, again, remember, they'd be competing with the NFL.
We're now changing things up so Bradley Beal's 24 and 40 Washington Wizards have a chance. That's the bubble?
He's a 30
What
point
bubble
scorer.
are we talking about? Okay, great. He's an awesome player. I love Bradley Beal. But the idea that, well, it would be unfair to Washington, who is 16 games under 500. Oh, the poor Blazers. The poor Blazers, who are 8 games under 500. This is the softest bubble in NBA history. We have 17 teams in this league under 500. I am not worried about making things as fair as possible for them. It's just, and if somehow this resulted in a team like Washington making the playoffs and Dallas that has, how many wins does Dallas have? 40 wins. They got 40 wins. There's only been 67 games played, and they're out. You know what, Broussard? I will blame you personally.
For it. Let's move on to Kevin Durant. His Brooklyn Nets teammate Spencer Dinwiddie did some pot stirring yesterday, saying, quote, at 80%, Durant is Dirk Nowitzki. At 100%, he's the best scorer of all time. Nick, how dangerous are the Nets if Durant does indeed return for the playoffs?
Well, a couple things. Wildly dangerous, especially if he gets back to 100%, because according to, if Dinwiddie's correct, Durant's been playing at 90% his whole career. Because if at 100% he's the best scorer of all time, thus far up through his career, he hasn't even been the best scorer of his generation. LeBron averages more points per game, so look out if we ever see 100% Kevin Durant. I guess we've just never seen it yet. But to this point, I feel terribly for KD in this spot. It's already starting wilds, and this is something I hold you personally accountable for. You keep saying every day on this show, oh, it's been 400, it's going to be 400 days. Kobe came back at this date. Chauncey came back at this date. We know Kevin Durant's got as big a rabbit ears as anyone in sports. You know he hears this. This is unfair pressure on him. Those guys didn't come back in the cauldron of the playoffs, and those guys didn't pop their Achilles coming back from an injury too early the way he did. To answer Jenna's question, if he comes back, of course they're incredibly dangerous. I just think it's unfair to even kind of subtly imply to KD he should be thinking about this.
I'm not subtly implying it, and I love when you say cauldron of the playoffs. It's my favorite. Besides Take Integrity is number one, cauldron of the playoffs is number 2. Look, we know that KD, this is why I'm just not putting it at 0%. I know that KD loves basketball, and I know that KD loves telling reporters to shove it. And we've yet to hear KD go on Twitter. Does he have Twitter, Broussard? I've yet to see him go on Twitter and say, everyone, stop, keep my name out of your mouth. I'm not coming back. Don't talk about it. And Nick, just for reference, it's going to be around 400 days. Rudy Gay came back with 273 days after 273 days after a torn Achilles. Just throwing it out there, it'll be 400 days. It's a long timetable. It's just, it wouldn't be absurd if he came back. If he wants to tell me to shove it, fine, I'll be quiet. I'll never talk about it again.
Look, if I'm Kevin Durant and I'm fully healthy, again, if he's 99%, don't come back. But if he's fully healthy,
99.
if he feels back to normal, if the doctors are saying he's okay, this is great for him. Because it's a strange situation, Nick, as you mentioned. There's play-ins, there's strange seeding, reseeding, all of that. Anything could happen in this newfangled playoff system we might have. The Nets might be able to pull off an upset. And no one would expect anything of them. No one would expect anything. If they go out and lose in the first round, nobody's going to say, oh, Kevin Durant doesn't have it anymore, anything like that. People would just brush it off. But if they somehow pull off an upset and get it going, this could be a chance for them to, who knows, win a championship. And look, I'll tell you this, they will be so dangerous if they have Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving that I wouldn't be surprised if this whole reseeding thing got scrapped. And Adam Silver said, you know what, since they would have Durant, Kyrie, and meet the Lakers in the first round, let's just go back to East-West. So we don't have to put the Lakers in jeopardy. I think the Lakers will win, don't get me wrong. But, man, the Nets would be dangerous, and I'd give them a legitimate shot at beating anyone outside of the LA teams, the Lakers and the Clippers. That includes the Bucks, because the Bucks are young and still haven't really proven it in the postseason. Brooklyn would be majorly dangerous.
All right, on to Carmelo Anthony now, who recently said, quote, you know, MJ is the GOAT. He's the greatest ever. We all know that. We all agree to that. Why can't we say that, but also give LeBron his flowers while he's here, too? Why can't we say MJ was very great, LeBron is very great, Kobe is very great? We're not allowed to say those things today because it's always this or that, and that's just our society. You have to choose one. Nick, what'd you make of what Melo had to say?
All right, so a few things here. All right, first of all, Melo, and by the way, happy birthday, Carmelo Anthony. And I don't want to say anything bad about the man who delivered my university our only national championship on his birthday. But Melo's a little wrong in a couple regards. One is, LeBron folks have no problem saying Michael Jordan is great. It's the other way around, the insecure Michael Jordan clan, that some of which is like, is LeBron really top 10? That's first of all. Second of all, I'm a little surprised by Melo's lack of loyalty here. Even if this is what you believe, Melo, you're part of the banana boat crew. You're not supposed to say that. Plead the fifth, do something. Melo can't be on the record saying we all know LeBron or Michael's the greatest. What are you doing, Melo? I expected more loyalty from you, my man.
No, he was. The earlier part of this quote, he's basically saying comparison is the thief of joy. It's a very nuanced, stay mellow answer from Melo. Doesn't make for a great TV debate segment, so I don't think we can invite Melo on, but it's a solid answer, Broussard.
No, I agree fully. And look, kudos to Melo for staying true. Nick, you're always about pick integrity, take integrity. Yeah. I give props to Melo for making his choice. Kendrick Perkins, Channing Frye, all these other guys that are LeBron buddies, they're not objective. They just want to give it to LeBron. Melo is saying, I love LeBron, but the man is MJ. And I got to stand up for MJ GOAT fans, because I obviously say he's the GOAT, but I love LeBron. He's the man. I say he's the second best. So it's not about loving MJ. You got to diss LeBron. I love LeBron. While he's very great and Kobe's very great, MJ is very, very great.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.